There's a molecule inside every single cell in your body, involved in more than 500 different chemical reactions, everything from turning food into energy to repairing damaged DNA. And by the time you're 50, your levels of it may have dropped by roughly half compared to when you were young. It's called NAD+, and it's become one of the most hyped, most misunderstood molecules in the entire longevity industry. Today, what it actually does, what the real human trial data shows, and the wild regulatory roller coaster its most popular supplement just went through.
NAD+ stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. It's a coenzyme, not a vitamin, not a hormone, but a helper molecule that other enzymes need to function. Its core job is acting as an electron shuttle. It flips back and forth between two states, NAD+ and NADH, ferrying electrons through the chemical reactions that generate energy inside your cells. Without that shuttle running, basic cellular energy production stops.
Did you know, beyond energy production, NAD+ is required to activate three major enzyme families: sirtuins, involved in gene regulation, PARPs, involved in DNA repair, and CD38, involved in immune signaling. That's why NAD+ shows up in so many different corners of aging research. It's not one pathway, it's a shared fuel source for several of them at once.
So why does NAD+ decline with age? Your body isn't just making less of it, it's also consuming more. Think of it like a bucket with a slow leak. Your body keeps refilling it, but as you age, the hole tends to get bigger. A big part of that hole is CD38, one of the enzymes that consumes NAD+. And CD38 activity tends to rise with age and with chronic low-grade inflammation, creating a double bind. Production slows down while consumption speeds up. Quick myth check before we go further, because this trips people up constantly. You can't just swallow NAD+ itself and expect it to raise your levels. It breaks down too quickly and doesn't absorb intact through the gut. That's the entire reason precursor molecules, building blocks your body converts into NAD+, became the actual product category. This is where NMN and NR come in: nicotinamide mononucleotide and nicotinamide riboside, the two most talked about NAD+ precursors. Both are smaller molecules your body can convert into NAD+ through its existing metabolic machinery. There's also nicotinamide, often shortened to NAM, a related but distinct form of vitamin B3, and newer entrants like NMNH and NRH, still in much earlier research stages. Did you know NMN isn't some exotic lab invention? It's an intermediate your body already produces naturally on its way to making NAD+. Supplementing with it is essentially handing your cells a head start on a conversion process they're already running. Mechanistically, both NMN and NR get absorbed and converted through a shared metabolic pathway into NAD+ inside your cells. For years, that was assumed to be the whole story. Then, a 2026 study, published in Nature Metabolism, added a genuine plot twist. That study directly compared three precursors, NMN, NR, and NAM, in humans. NMN and NR both roughly doubled circulating NAD+ after 2 weeks of supplementation. NAM did not. It produced only a brief, temporary bump. But here's the twist. The researchers found that gut bacteria play a direct role in that conversion, transforming NMN and NR into an intermediate called NA, along the way to becoming NAD+. In other words, raising your NAD+ with these supplements may partly depend on your gut microbiome doing some of the actual work. Did you know that same 2026 study found NMN and NR supplementation also increased short-chain fatty acids, byproducts of gut bacteria linked to gut barrier strength and reduced inflammation? It's a reminder that these supplements' effects might not be limited to the NAD+ pathway alone. So what does actual human research show? A 2022 trial in 66 healthy adults found that 300 milligrams of NMN daily for 60 days raised blood NAD+ levels and improved performance on a 6-minute walking test.
A 2023 trial in postmenopausal women with prediabetes found 250 milligrams daily over 10 weeks improved muscle insulin sensitivity. A broader 2025 review looking across multiple trials found that NR and NMN together produce measurable but modest improvements in muscle-related outcomes in older adults. Real, published human results, worth taking seriously. And here's the myth that matters most in this entire video. No published human study has shown that NMN or NR reduces disease risk or extends lifespan. What's actually been shown, repeatedly, is that they raise circulating NAD+ and produce modest improvements in specific measures like walking performance or insulin sensitivity. That's genuinely useful data. It is not the same claim as this molecule slows aging, and that gap is where most of the marketing lives. Did you know most of the dramatic lifespan extension headlines associated with this molecule family actually come from mouse and yeast studies, not human ones? That's the same translation gap we flagged on other topics this channel has covered. Promising in animal models, still unconfirmed in humans. On safety specifically, published human trials have tested NMN in the 250 to 900 milligram daily range, and NR in the 250 to 1000 milligram range, generally reporting only mild side effects, some GI upset, headache, occasional flushing. That's a reasonably reassuring short-term safety picture at studied doses. It is not the same as a confirmed long-term safety profile, since most trials run weeks to months, not years. Did you know China has approved NMN as a cosmetic ingredient, meaning it can legally go into skincare products there, but it still hasn't been approved as an oral supplement in that market? Regulatory status for this molecule genuinely varies, not just by country, but by exactly how it's being sold. Now for one of the strangest parts of this story. In 2022, the FDA determined that NMN could no longer legally be sold as a dietary supplement in the United States. The reason wasn't a safety finding, it was a legal mechanism called the Drug Preclusion Clause. A pharmaceutical company developing a prescription-grade NMN drug candidate had filed an investigational new drug application first, and that filing gave the FDA grounds to exclude the whole ingredient category from the supplement market. For roughly 3 years, NMN sat in a kind of regulatory limbo. Some brands reformulated, some moved sourcing offshore, and independent testing during that period found real quality problems, with some products containing less than half their labeled dose. In 2025, the FDA reversed its determination. As of May 2026, NMN is lawfully marketable again as a U.S. dietary supplement, subject to standard new ingredient notification rules. Worth being precise here. Legal to sell as a supplement is not the same claim as FDA approved. Supplements, including NMN, don't go through the same pre-market safety and efficacy review that drugs do. The 2025 reversal restored market access. It didn't create a stamp of clinical approval. One more thing worth separating out clearly. IV NAD+ therapy, offered at some wellness clinics, is a completely different product category from oral NMN or NR supplements. Raw NAD+ itself is not FDA approved, is not currently on the FDA's approved substances list for compounding pharmacies, and has no established legal retail pathway for personal use in the United States. Products sold online labeled NAD+ for research use only are not authorized for human consumption at all. If a clinic is offering an NAD+ IV drip, that's operating in a meaningfully less regulated space than an oral supplement bottle from a mainstream retailer. Did you know, as of the most recent update, NAD+ is not on the World Anti-Doping Agency's prohibited list? That status gets reviewed annually though, so it's genuinely worth double-checking current rules if you're a competitive athlete, rather than assuming today's status is permanent. Placed against everything else covered on this channel, NAD+ precursors actually sit in a genuinely interesting middle position. More human trial data than BPC 157 or TB 500, but without the completed Phase 3 programs behind retatrutide or the FDA approval behind Foundayo. Real evidence, real mechanism, real short-term results, just not the sweeping longevity claims built on top of it.
So here's the honest bottom line. NAD+ is a genuinely essential molecule. Its decline with age is real and measurable, and its precursors, NMN and NR specifically, have real published human data behind them. Higher blood NAD+, some modest functional improvements. What they don't have, at least not yet, is proof that any of that translates into a longer or healthier life. That gap between does something measurable and extends lifespan is exactly where the hype outran the evidence. And closing it is still an open scientific question, not a settled one. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, because when a real human longevity trial lands, we'll cover it here.